I've asked you to join me to help clear the confusion of the spring semester. The students need a trustworthy person to talk to, and we thought that you would be the best person for that.
Okay, I will do the best I can. Thank you.
How many people will be in each classroom during in-class learning?
The maximum number of people is 19. However, the most important factor is that the social distancing. So we have to make sure that there's 6 feet of social distance between all of the desks, and 8 feet between the front of the room and the front row of desks. So the teacher has space to move around. So we're working on, configuring rooms now, what they might look like. But again, it depends on the room. It depends on existing furniture. But most importantly, it's the 6 feet of social distancing at all times.
What precautions will be taken to ensure the safety of students in the classroom during passing periods and during lunch, if there is a lunch?
Yeah, and so one of the requirements is all staff and students must wear masks or face shields with a drape at all times that they're on campus. 6 feet of social distance is also required. In regard to movement outside of classrooms, that's something that site administration is still working on. We'll have signage, we'll have decals on the ground. Students will only be able to move, one way through the school. So to minimize the crowding. And in regard to breakfast and lunch, it will be provided for all students, both breakfast and lunch, but it will be grab and go style. So there won't be, students can't hang out in the cafeteria or hang out in groups, on campus.
Why would going back to school be worth it rather than staying home?
And I think that's a really good question, and it's a question that families kind of need to decide for themselves. Safety is number one priority always for staff and students. For many students, they need to be around their peers and around their teachers, and so coming back on campus has that benefit. They'll be in the classroom with their peers. They're going to be in the classroom with their teacher. If they have questions, they can ask their teacher and get a live answer. But I think for most people, it really does come down to that socialization piece and contact with others. Some of our students need more assistance. And so, like in our special education classes, and so for them to have extra adults in the room that are able to help them, that's a huge benefit. So again, it's really going to come down to family decisions, with safety being the number one priority. And then, I think the socialization is a factor for many students. That's a really good question.
How will bathrooms work?
And that's an excellent question that we're still trying to figure out. So right now, much of our decisions are contingent upon how many students come back on campus. And so once we know that information, that will help us. Student restrooms will, of course, be open, but we're going to have to definitely figure out a way to manage the traffic because, again, we cannot have students within 6 feet of each other. And so that's something that administration is still working on a plan.
When students arrive at school, will they go immediately to their classes or will they have free time around the gate like usual?
Yeah, unfortunately, they will not have free time. And so when students are on campus, they're going to be in motion when they're outside of the classroom, moving towards the classroom, but they're not going to be able to congregate outside of the classroom, because again, we have to maintain those safety protocol.
How will PE work with wearing masks?
And PE is one area that we're still trying to figure out. It's going to come down a lot to the number of students that are returning, and we're working with our district on how the class is going to work. We just don't know at this time.
What will happen during the 20 minutes of guided practice and support time after class? Will it remain the same as is? Will it be eliminated altogether, or will students work independently?
Yeah, at this time, our understanding is that 20 minutes, students will need to remain in their classroom because we can't have them out wandering around. And so they'll remain in the class, with their classmates and their teachers.
How will students be divided between Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday and Friday?
And we're going to do the best we can once we have the number of students that are coming back. We'll take families into consideration, and do the best we can to keep siblings in the same cohort. We're going to do the best we can to do the same with siblings at Albioni to make it as convenient as we can for families. So those are decisions that we'll make once we know who's coming back, which we should have a much better idea next week and the following week. Yeah, and I just want to thank everyone for their patience. I know that this is a difficult and stressful time for everyone, and we really appreciate the students just having an open mindset and being positive and working hard and working with their teachers. And we'll get through this together. And we just have to, keep communicating and again, stay united. So thank you to all the students.
Hello PG Eagles, I'm here to inform you that we have upcoming Spirit Days throughout the rest of the quarter. In November we have Dress to Impress, Hogwarts House Day, and Monochrome Day. In December we have Sports Day, Pattern Confusion Day, and PJ Day. For more information on these days with their dates, look at the pghs.net website.
Hi everyone, it's Emery. So yesterday I was just lying on my adequately made bed with my e-boy hair, questioning my existence in the ever-expanding universe, and that's when it hit me like a ton of pounds. There are still clubs at PG. When we switched to distance learning, the clubs had to switch too. They had to adapt to their new environment at home and figure out how to keep their clubs alive without ever stepping on campus. But how? I couldn't take it any longer, so I decided to team up with my favorite acquaintance, Mason. He interviewed some club members and sent me a bunch of information. Let's take a look.
What club are you a part of? What is your role and what is your club's purpose?
Okay, so I'm Mason Koyama and I am the president of Kendama Club. And our goal this year is to just mainly have fun and to spread the game of Kendama. And it's also to bring people together when we're separated during this pandemic.
I'm the club leader of the Esports and Gaming Club. We intend to connect gamers with other gamers to improve their skills and give them something to look forward to.
So I'm a part of Punjabi Club. I'm the vice president, and our purpose is to allow people to learn more about Punjabi culture and get to know people from a similar background.
I'm part of Key Club, and I am the vice president. And the purpose of our club is to serve our community and make new connections and form friendships that last forever.
I'm part of VSA, and I'm the president, and our club's purpose is to share Vietnamese culture with other people so they can enjoy it too.
How have you had to adjust your club due to distance learning?
So most of our club activities during the year, we had in-person meetings and dance practices from multi, but since we can't do that, we're mostly on Zoom.
Google Meets.
Entirely over Zoom.
Zoom, and also we're not meeting in person to do service events. We're doing DIY homemade events that we're doing, projects that we're donating to hospitals or the homeless. So that's how we've adapted. And we also had virtual events that usually would be held in person.
So speaking of events, are there any events that you would normally be holding at the school that you have to change or replace this year?
Our tournaments, we are currently working out the logistics of our first tournament to be on Zoom.
Well, normally we'd be doing food fair to fundraise, so we're currently looking for a safe way to fundraise.
So usually we would hold some events with other schools in the Elk Grove district every month, but now we've been moving it to Zoom.
Is there anything about distance learning that makes certain club activities easier?
Distance learning makes most of our club activities easier since all of our activities are video game tournaments.
Because we changed the club this year, we were able to make it more social rather than just dancing, so we were able to incorporate a new aspect, which was nice.
I know some people don't like staying after school, or they're busy at the certain times we have a meeting or on those days. So with the Zoom meetings, I think it's a lot easier because people don't really have anywhere they need to be, so it's easier for them to participate or show up to our meetings.
I guess it's easier in the sense that you could basically attend almost any single event you want, because usually you would have to drive out or go out to go to events, but now it's just in the comfort of your own home.
What are some strategies that you incorporated to retain members through the distance model?
So we have our Instagram account, which we encourage people to follow at PGHS_Punjabi.
We have an Instagram and we post on that whenever we have like a meeting or an event going on.
Keep everyone in the loop using Remind.
And we have a Google
Classroom,
so we're able to tell people when we have meetings and
get the information to people.
We try to have tournaments for different games, and we've recently started to make competitive teams.
We're incentivizing people to join the club by showing how you could earn scholarships and specific things at graduation you could earn through Key Club. And we're just promoting helping the community, especially through these specific times.
Okay.
Wow. Thanks to Mason, I finally got some closure. But there's just one thing. There's still so many clubs. Do they all run the same? I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Hey Eagles, my name is Juliana Hoyle and I'm here to talk to you about Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, a special Latin American holiday originating in Mexico and celebrated on the 1st and 2nd days of November. Now this holiday centers around two big beliefs. The first belief is that we should celebrate the passing of loved ones versus mourning them like in America or France or other such Western cultures. The second belief is that we all start in the same place and we all end in the same place. We all start as nothing and we all end as nothing, or end as a skeleton. That is why you see skeletons all throughout the art and decorations and foods surrounding this holiday. Now I mentioned that this holiday is about celebrating the lives of those who've passed on, and this is done by setting up a special altar called an ofrenda, which is then adorned with pictures of the loved ones, special trinkets or memorabilia of special marigold flowers, foods, and other such special decorations. And though November 1st and 2nd have already passed, it's important to learn about other people's holidays and cultures because we can really find inspiration for our own lives in them. And I personally find a lot of beauty and meaning in Dia de los Muertos because I think it's important to celebrate the lives of those who've moved on rather than mourning the loss of their life. So if you find an interest in this holiday too and would like to learn how to celebrate or just learn more about the history or even learn some new fun recipes such as pan de muertos, then please check the link down in the description or we'll put it up on screen now. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday and a wonderful rest of your year.
Hey PG, it's Sydney, and today I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite studying tips and tricks to help you get through distance learning. My first tip is all about rewriting your notes. You guys, I cannot stress this enough. It is so important that you rewrite your notes because it totally helps you process what you've already learned, and you can easily just use the notes that you took in class. You can see here that I wrote mine out really pretty. You obviously don't have to do that, and just make sure you write down anything that you are confused on or have any sort of doubt in your mind that you'll be able to get it right on the test. So my next tip is all about Quizlet and how to take your Quizlet game just a little bit further. So of course we all know Quizlet is one of the best resources to study, especially when you're in a time crunch, and most likely your teachers have told you to use it as an assignment or as an extra resource. But what I like to do is after I've gone through, the whole Quizlet and done the learn section, I like to take some note cards and write down any sort of definitions that I'm still a little bit confused on. I find that writing stuff down really helps my brain process it. That's just how my brain works. So if that is the same for you, then I definitely recommend doing that. So my third and final tip is all about having a YouTube study buddy. So there are people who will record themselves studying for multiple hours at a time. Sometimes they put music in the background, sometimes they just have a bunch of white noise going on, and they will record themselves for you to watch and for you to study with so that you don't feel so lonely, and they can help you feel more productive or more motivated to keep studying. And these can be really helpful for those who need a little extra motivation and personal touch to their study routine. Those are all the tips that I have for you today. Be sure to let us know if you would like to see more.
These places should seem familiar, where multiple teams have practiced and played games that we have all enjoyed in the past. But things are different now. Only some sports have been able to come back to prepare for their upcoming season in January. Even though some are back, they still have their own restrictions. These athletes are taking what they can get and making the most of their time together. Staying safe and healthy is the main priority of these athletes and coaches as they create new memories and work hard to make this next season their best one yet.